How are you? Welcome to Telesur for our critical moves. The people of Argentina said bye to Macri. And now with Alberto Fernandez and Cristina Fernandez has won in the first round. And there are still more upcoming results. Uruguay is also in the same path. How is the new geopolitics working out? Let's analyze this today. After the Sunday polls, let's hear some reactions. My first words are to thank everybody of Argentina that went to vote, that was going to construct once again a new era in democracy. They put a new order for Argentina, a new logic. Thank everybody who voted for us. Thanks to everybody who was with us. Thanks, like Cristina said. Thanks for the compromise that you have shown to really construct and build an Argentina with solidarity and more equality. An Argentina that defends public education and that defends public health, that privileges those who produce, that privileges those who work. I am sure that this is the mandate that you have given us, each and every one of you. I just give you a heartfelt thank you very much. Thank you to those who did not vote for us. And like Cristina said, this is not our front. This is the front of everybody. It was born to include everybody. And we're calling upon all Argentinians. Thank you very much for being here with us. As you know, it's so important for democracy. I've already said it twice. Especially for those of us who at once didn't have the chance to vote and elect. Thank you. I invited him tomorrow to have breakfast at the government house so we can establish the transition. This is for Argentina, an orderly transition that brings peace to all the Argentinians. Because the only thing important is the future of Argentina. This is why we are sure that Uruguayans are going to elect based on our propositions. We know this is a challenge, and the challenge is to continue with what Mr. Ordóñez, with Mr. Latte dreamt, with Sareños, an Uruguayo of development, of justice, compromise with the future. We had thought in some way that, on one hand, it was an isolated minority of Frente Amplio in the Senate. And on the other hand, there's a new opportunity. There is fertile grounds for the agreements. There is fertile grounds to advance in the Chamber of Senate. There is possibility of a coherent government. Let's locate Argentina on our map. This powerful country of the South, formerly known as the Republic of Argentina, located at the south of South America, in the southern cone, with 2,780,000 square kilometers. On the north, it has a border with Bolivia and Paraguay, to the east with Brazil, Uruguay, Mar de la Plata, and to the east with Chile, There is still the sovereignty on the Falkland Islands, Georgias, and Sandwich of the South that have been occupied by the UK. According to the World Bank, the PIB has the 21st place in the world. This is because of its geopolitical importance, and it is one of the 3 sovereign governments in Latin America that are part of the G20. Is also part of the 9 most industrialized countries in the world. Is also part of Mercosur, UNASUR, CELAC, and OEAS. They have, in the past 4 years, they have had a position pro-U.S. They were able to design and export satellites, and they were the first producers of software. But everything changed during the government of Mauricio Macri. Argentina possesses oil and natural gas that allows them to organize a chain of production along with soy and the metal industry that is also important in this country. The minery is based on copper, gold, zinc, silver, magnesium, uranium, and sulfur. It is in the triangle of lithium, and it's the 3rd world reserve. This is due because part of the production is in the lithium triangle that concentrates 80% of the world reserves. Now let's do the map of Uruguay, the country that yesterday went to the polls, and they will do so again on November 24th. The name is República Oriental of Uruguay. It's located in the oriental part of the southern cone. It has a limit to the north with Brazil, to the east, to the west with Argentina, to the southwest to Argentina. Its area is 176 square kilometers, the second smallest in South America. It's part of Mercosur, OEAS, UNASUR, and G77. Their main resources are agriculture, cattle, minery, energetic, but it has a lot of minerals. They are still carrying out some research of diamonds and other minerals. The main industries are paper, carton, cement, and refining oil. Let's advance. Technology is not my friend today. It's the second country in Latin America with the highest level of alphabetization after Cuba. It has the least index of perception of corruption in the region. According to United Nations, it was one of the countries with the largest development index. According to CEPAL, it's one of the countries that has the most equitable distribution in the region. Now let's see what the plan of this new Argentinian government are. From the electoral event, 2 campaigns have been highlighted. In Argentina, the results were very clear. From a country of a government of neoliberal, now there is a progressive and inclusive government by the hand of the Fernandez, who proposed a government of 2020-2024 to renegotiate the debt with the International Monetary Fund that was acquired by Macri. The government of this country will change structural framework, and they will have priority of recovering the internal market and the capacity of exporting and production. In Uruguay, this Sunday is going to be a second round for November 24th. There are 2 scenarios. One of them is with the Frente Amplio, Amplio and Daniel Martinez, who bets for the distribution of richness with a distribution and social equity, plus the regional integration. The other one with the National Party and Luis Lacalle. This is a plan that will reduce what he says public expenditure and change some of the laws. Let's see internet website. For example, Página 12, this is October 28th. The government is back in the hands of the people. Alberto Fernández spoke of a new order, of a new logic, in confrontation with the past 4 years. The only thing that we want is that Argentina stops suffering once and for all. Macri has assured that what he wanted to do was to take them to a clear transition, something that was not able to do. With almost all of the votes counted, there has been a great difference between the two candidates. He had like 2 million votes, more than Las PASO. That he can say that he had a good strategy in the last weeks. There was a tension because there was a psychosis created the previous day from the official sectors that insisted on the need to carry out a better fiscalization than in La Paso. What the Sputnik said, Mexican president will speak with the winners of the Argentinian and Bolivian elections. The president has announced that he will speak with the recently elected presidents. This is Alberto Fernández in Argentina and Evo Morales in Bolivia. I quote, "I respect the political processes and elections. Today I will speak with the new elected president of Argentina, Fernández, and President Morales. I will do these 2 calls to congratulate both of these presidents." This is what he, close quotes, this is what he said in his recent press conference. This is the change, and we are carrying out a new model, is what the president said. He also said that December 1st, he will present his changes to the economic project. I take advantage to recommend an article of Paula Klachko that is published in our website. She says the situation that 4 years of neoliberalism has left in Argentina are terrible in all aspects. The government of the CEOs are always allied to the international capitals, gave in to the oligarchy, has now been exposed and has sacked the nation, and there will be no going back on this. We see that there's a lot of poverty, people that are poor, there's no work. On the other hand, the fight is not going to rest. And from Kirchnerismo, there will be a bet to articulate this resistance. This unity was articulated strongly in the streets by the unions of the workers, and there was a real strength of any popular project in Argentina. And then our main reference, and especially the former president, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, were able to knit this proposition. that now generates lots of hopes and expectations for the future, although it will not be easy to leave the swamp. So the elections will not solve the crisis, but there is expectations to overcome them in the midterm. The next government and there will be new policies aimed at improve the distribution of the richness, and this will be felt in the pockets of the workers, which will, of course, reactivate slowly but firmly all of the market. So the new government of Alberto Fernández and Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, without a doubt, will bring a breath of fresh air to Latin America that was in a stagnation, but it was not defeated. Let's listen now to hear what our correspondent says from Montevideo, Uruguay. We're speaking about Argentina and Uruguay. Let's start with Let's go with Uruguay. These elections have also left a lot of material for analysis in regards to the future policies in the public realm. There has been some debates between the official government candidate and the opposer. If the officialism wins, Daniel Martinez, there will be continuity on the foreign relationships that up until now have been aiming at the multilateralism and integration of the continent. On the other hand, if Luis Lacalle wins, the foreign policies will have an important shift, and no longer will it be aligned with integration projects like UNASUR or CELAC. Most likely, Uruguay will step back from these organisms. And there might be an integration that is merely commercial, that has been very much debated in the past times. And Lacalle Paul has also said that what he intends is that Uruguay continues to grow in the upcoming years. There is also a new situation of Uruguay in the Grupo de Lima, because, of course, the new president would change dramatically, depending on who wins on October 24th in the second round in the ballotage. Thank you very much to Mateo. This is what's going on in Uruguay. Let's see what happens to the other side of the Rio de la Plata in Argentina, who already did decide in the first round. Let's see from now on what awaits us. Our correspondent has more information from us. Hello, Edgardo. What is the most recent thing? Let's speak about the meeting with Macri and the incoming President Fernandez. Yes, Ray, I greet you and to all of your audience. I have covered the elections since October '83. This is many years now, and what we saw yesterday on behalf of the Argentinian people is comparable to the 2000-year party after Alfonsín took over the presidency after a very strong dictatorship. This party was a parenthesis where they could take out all of their hard feelings. Now we're all betting on an integration of the region. Let's not forget that they were in Buenos Aires and they spoke of the liberty of Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva, and also congratulating President Morales in Bolivia. of yet. In terms of what you're saying, of the day after, which is the concern of economy, now we can only buy in a bank $200 at the banks. This is the most stern measure that we have had in Argentina since the beginning. Today, Mr. Macri and Mr. Fernandez met in the government house, and they want to calm down the economic spectrum. Argentina, that used to be one of the satellites industry, future projections of the construction, that had this big state, that had this relationship with the peoples of our country, and that was one of the main objectives of the government. Yesterday was we were commemorating 9 years of the death of the husband of Cristina Fernández de Kirchner. Mr. Fernández, the recently elected president, has said that the first visit he will make is to Mexico. And now, with this triumph of Fernández, we're taking once more the right path. Alberto Fernández and their formula obtained 200,000 more votes than in the first round. All of the forces, including Mauricio Macri, has decreased. So what we can say is that there is a terror and a hate that is more prevalent than the hope of finding a new government that is fair, because the truth is that the economy in Argentina is devastating. So apparently this social transformation that will be carried out by the hands of Alberto Fernández is the path of hope of the Argentinian people. And this is what we saw in the party in Buenos Aires and many other cities, all of the Argentinian Republic. Another part of information is that this party, this coalition of Peronism trace that was consolidated by Cristina Fernández, they have been able to win the governance, the governor of Buenos Aires. Let's advance then. A pause. Let's go to a pause. We have on website a question that you can interact with. Here we have it. How is the new regional geopolitical going to reorganize them after this Argentinian election results? Participate. What Argentina did Macri leave? In what context does Alberto Fernández, in the front of everybody, win? Let's go over this. Alberto Fernández reaches the government house with a government that has been devastated by neoliberal measures imposed by Macri. There's a recession and an inflation that goes to 50% a year. The increase of prices of the basic food components is only compared to the beginning of the 20th century. According to public numbers, poverty went from 31% to 35%. More than 7% of the people are in extreme poverty. After the first round, the dollar lost 30% of its value. In August, the drop of the real value of the basic payment has increased. The neoliberal model, led by Macri, asked for millions and millions in loans. The president has been a firm ally in the policy against Venezuela. With the victory of the Frente de Todos, the panorama is going to change dramatically. Alberto Fernandez had already announced that there will be changes. Now, in what context does Uruguay come to this electoral process? Uruguay is one of the most stable countries, both socially and economically. This is also the same in the institutional front. Economically, they've been able to reduce their dependency from Argentina and Brazil, and at the same time, it's one of the countries with less inequality in the region. 8% of the people are below poverty line. CEPAL says that the poverty is in 3%. 2003, this was 31%. The levels of extreme poverty are minimum, and they're only 0.1% of the population. The unemployment is less than 9%, and the inflation doesn't go up that fast. According to there's 17% of the children live under the poverty line. Almost all of the children go to schools. However, many young people do not finish their high school studies. Uruguay has been very important in the integration and regional cooperation that most of the countries of Latin America went through in the past 10 years. Uruguay is a legitimate person to dialogue between left and right. In the line of dialogue, along with Mexico, they push forward the Montevideo, that is opposed to the Group of Lima, that oppose the government of Venezuela. It's time to go to analysis and our critical moves. So we're going to speak with Javier Romero from Argentina, and from Uruguay, our friend Pablo Siris. I want to thank you both for being with us. Let's start with Pablo. Argentina already decided, and they decided in the first round. What's upcoming now? What happens now? What happens next? Well, I would like to greet everybody from Telesur. Well, what comes now is a very delicate aspect, because Argentina, that this president receives, is a devastated country, and it's totally in debt. Over the past 4 years of Macri, inflation duplicated, 4 million people became poor, and there's a foreign debt that has increased. And the organism, Argentina was very much influenced by the U.S. And they gave them loans knowing that they were not going to be able to pay back, because nobody on the outside wanted to lend money to Argentina. So what we see is a government that's on the brink of a default. there are 4 million new people, 4 more poor people that are new to this reality. So it's a very delicate situation. Yesterday, the central bank issued a restriction for maximum of $200 of purchase that by any citizen. So this is a time bomb, and they will need a whole great operation to set this time bomb off. I'll be back with you in a minute. Let's go to our next guest. Pablo Siris, he's a friend of Telesur, he's a journalist. So we have to go to second round in Uruguay, but in what condition? How are things going? Well, they're very hard situations. First of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity and greet you from here. They are very harsh situation because the Frente Amplio is coming to the second round with a 40.60% of the votes, and although it leads the following party in 11 points, the third and fourth place have given their support. And I know that it's not like just it's not a matter of endorsing votes. However, the support that the political parties will give Luis Lacalle Pou and all of the support that he will receive in both chambers of the parliament are obstacles that are very big obstacles for Frente Amplio to be able to attain the majority in this election. However, all of the leaders have called to push forward this fight, and it wouldn't be the first time that the poll companies are not able to efficiently obtain the real numbers. So it's a complex panorama. It's not impossible to obtain the victory in the second round, but apparently there is a scenario of difficulty with Parliament in the case Frente Amplio wins the second round. Or there will be some conflicts if Luis Lacalle is elected president. Because the panorama that is upcoming for Uruguay, there will be some cuts in social investment, in investment for education, health, etc., that up until now has been offered by the candidates. So the conflictivity would be social. And this is where I want to stand in the last part, because I want to understand why there have been more than a decade of Frente Amplio applying social and visible measures. So why are at this point of history with this situation? Well, we the journalists normally assume that our role is decisive for society. And however, it's not the only explanation, but it's one of the most important explanations, is how the media has sided with one candidate, from everything from public security, safety, that all of the media just repeats over and over, just from normal robberies all the way to other situations, like those that can happen in public schools that have included almost 3 times the budget for education, and regardless, they are very much followed by the press. Well, Frente Amplio maybe needed to go a bit more in depth in some policies, especially in creating jobs and adequating job markets. Now we understand that 70% of the workplaces are in danger because of the new technologies, and this has already been seen in some fundamental sectors of the industries. On the other hand, the role that Frente Amplio has played in terms of redistributing richness, especially the taxes on people, is very much questioned, especially by the middle class that understand that they have to spend everything while the companies are exonerated of paying taxes. And this is a mechanism used to attract investments. In any case, Uruguay's political economy has generated the best redistribution in the continent. Frente Amplio, in this sense, has been able to consistently diminish the breach between rich and poor throughout their three periods. So it's sort of hard because there are segments of the population that are now voting for the opposition, because Frente Amplio has lost 8 points to their first round in 2014. These 8 points, apparently, is what Cabildo Abierto has won. Let's not forget the local authorities, especially one that has had a very conservative speech and has been able to attract some of the segments, especially of the military family and all of its three branches. This is Navy, Marine, and Army. That percentage of the electorate, the militaries that here in Uruguay can vote, and of course all of these people are voting for Manini Rios. So in any case, for the National Party, in case that they win the second round, there's a great question about what will be their programmatic proposal. And this is still pending because they did not present it during the first round. What Lacalle Pou did announce was that as soon as he took office, he would send to the Parliament a project of 500 articles to be dealt urgently, and this can be explained because that the Parliament can only have 30 days for the whole law to pass through the upper camera and the lower camera. En la Cámara de Senadores, lo resuelto por la Cámara de Diputados, se adopte en la versión definitiva. Just so you can have an idea, the Constitution of Uruguay doesn't reach 200 articles. So if a law that modifies the laws in 500 articles is very worrisome, it's like a blank check for this new government, that in the case that Luis Lacalle Pou would have the majority. Well, so we have to wait. Thank you very much for this context, and this allows us to better understand the situation in Uruguay. So let's go to Javier. Let's go with the question. What elements do you think that cannot miss in this machinery? Briefly, please. Well, the first of all is to refinance your debt, and with special attention to foreign loaners. I think that the negotiations are advancing. There are some advance in the dialogues. The victory of Fernández in the primaries, this indicated there was going to be some negotiations. I think that this would be the first step. Next, it's important to think in this new distributive. So it's necessary to put money in the pockets of the Argentinian people so this could circulate in all the markets. Let's not forget that 80% of the production is for internal consumption. So this is what Macri did. He opened the frontiers and he did not protect the national production. And what they did was to impoverish the majority of the people. So the salaries and retirement fees have diminished. So it's necessary to put money at the bottom so all of the gears can start turning. Unfortunately, the economy of Argentina was stopped with the last 4 years of Macri. He promised something else. He said he was going to maintain the good levels. But none of this happened. And this was all part of the defeat of Mauricio Macri. Thank you very much, Javier. And thank you, Pablo, for being with us in Critical Moves. Let's go to a small pause. When we come back, we will see not only what happened with these two countries of Latin America, but what they could irradiate to the rest of the world after this electoral process that Argentina has gone through. And Uruguay in the first round, they still need to go to the balotage. It's going to be the last Sunday of November. From geopolitical, this is what we're speaking about, and the electoral process that were lived in Latin America. We're going to speak with Olga Alvarez. She's an expert in the electoral process. Olga, let's think a little bit about the geopolitics of the world, but seen from these electoral process. Argentina and Uruguay, especially Argentina, where the case is already closed. Well, these past 3 weeks, we've seen political processes that show a reverse to the U.S. policy in the region. And now the Bolivian elections and Argentinian have been very clear. So what we see is that there is a support to change a model as opposed to the neoliberal one. In the case of Argentina, we see the same situation. And what we see is that the previous policies had a no. Although the projection of the primaries, there was a bigger right. Nevertheless, in terms of votes, the Fernandez option grew. So there was a rejection that has taken the country to despair. Who have been the biggest defeated? Well, if you see, first line would be Mauricio Macri, and in the case of Argentina and in Bolivia, the right. But there are also other losers. Let's see that these are just local operators, but the policies come from Washington, so this means that they are the ones who lost. They try to compromise so there was a reconstruction of a new multilateralism and to make alliances to have a multipolar world where, of course, it's going to be hard, although it's going to be hard for them because it's going to be hard to revert all of the damages caused. But there will be new economic allies. Now we have alliances with Turkey, Iran, India, with a stronger Russia and China. So the situation has changed towards the possibility that they have. How does the United States, where is it standing? Of course, this is a very important reverse, not only with Argentina, but also because it's questioned in Chile. Because it has been directed by, it's a laboratory of the United States, of a model to erase the memory of people that is now waking up and saying, hey, we've got 40 years of being silenced, but this is enough. Well, Sebastián Piñera seems that he's not waking up yet. Well, here in Venezuela, we have a similar experience because there was a Caracazo where they took very soft measures. That change of cabinet does not solve the problems. What they want is to go to a profound reform, a These people have been followed, and there has been a psychological pressure to forget their dreams and their hard situation and all of the people who have been killed that was caused by Pinochet. Somebody said we left dictatorship, but we did not fall in democracy. Okay, to come to an end, what is going to happen in Uruguay? But according to the numbers, the left movement is winning. However, could this revert? We heard another of our guests, because apparently all of the right movements will regroup. And they will be able to have a position in this country. There has been 15 years of progressive Well, ballotage is a perversion because it tries to bend the will of the majority. Because if we have a Frente Amplio with 40% of option, with a sector of the right that has regrouped, that has questioned the presidency of the recent president. And it's clear that the news media is against all of these progresses. And we have a Frente Amplio that needs to renovate and to show new options. And of course what they're trying to do is
estamos hablando de 500 artículos que modifican y que desestructuran toda la Constitución de Uruguay.
And they're destabilizing them. So it's important to
reinstalar un modelo que acabaría con el estado de bienestar o con lo conseguido dentro del estado de bienestar en estos 15 años. Yo creo que es la oportunidad.
I think it's the opportunity for these people to reflect on the numbers. It's not easy. It's 40-60 right now in terms of percentage. We have a 60% that could regroup and that could leave in a very complex situation in the Frente Amplio that in these elections have lost already some.
En el discurso y en la oferta programática el Frente Amplio en lo que queda de esta semana.
Tal cual. Bueno, un millón de gracias por haberse acercado a los estudios de Telesur.
Thank you very much for coming to Telesur. Let's go to our conclusions.
Como diría el emperador Julio César,
as Julius Caesar said when he, alia acta est. The luck is already sent. So now we have that Argentina is going back to the left. This will not be easy because the economy has been destroyed by Macri. But the Peronism and the Kirchners have experience on how to reconstruct lost economies. Uruguay, on the other hand, must decide themselves either to continue the progress or to accept new promises. This is what we're going to see up until now. Thank you very much.